So could you tell me, why did you make Starsuckers? What's the background to it?
It was while I was making my last film, and I had to do an awful lot of publicity for it, and I got to go on radio and television quite a lot to promote it, and I got quite addicted to this, basically. It was an amazing experience, but I got this very kind of toxic rush of being on television and doing lots of Q&As and appearing on stage and stuff. So I got very into it, and then when it went away, which it always does, then I got these horrible withdrawal symptoms. And my producer Christina started poking fun at me about this, but she studied psychology and said there's a lot written about this, about sort of fame being like this addictive drug. It's not just the people who are famous; it's for the audience as well, and they get hooked on being close to it. So that just started me reading, really, and then we found out all this kind of really dark stuff that no one had made a documentary about. So we decided to make the film Starsuckers, and that was about 2 years ago.
And did you, when you made the film, is there anything that you weren't expecting to find that scared you, in particular, some things you discovered that you weren't expecting? Yeah,
I think the whole Live Aid thing I didn't know about. I mean, I didn't go to concerts, but I watched them on TV. I'm a massive Pink Floyd fan, and it was an amazing day, amazing concerts, and you thought, my God, we've changed the world. And
yeah, I absolutely love them. I thought
I didn't really do anything. I sat at home and watched a free concert. I wasn't even asked to donate money this time. You know, you might be young, but in Live Aid, 20 years ago, you were asked to donate money. This time we weren't asked to donate money, but it was a great concert, and everyone seemed to have a good time. And then so anyway, researching this documentary, that I said, no, actually, there was a real distraction. It was a really counterproductive distraction for what was really happening in Edinburgh with the whole Make Poverty History campaign. And it actually diverted attention away from what people were trying to do with Africa, and the result was a real failure. But everyone remembers it as a success because that's a story that the media like to tell. And that did shock me. That I didn't know, and that's sort of quite a big part of the movie.
That shocked me most as well. And I mean, one thing about your film is the way that you reveal these truths that are so controversial. People didn't want to believe it.
You don't.
What's the tabloid reaction been like to that, or even the media in general?
Well, this film has basically said that there is no Santa Claus to lots and lots of children, and the Tooth Fairy doesn't exist, and everyone's going to grow old and die. You know, that's the really cheery, uplifting message of this movie. And the reaction of the media has been one of three things. Either it's been massively positive. A lot of people have come out and said it's right that this is said now, and it's painful to hear, but most of our news is rubbish, and this needs to be stopped. We ought to do something about this. So people I've never met, never heard of, people have come out and said and really supported it. Or people have really attacked it and said that it is puerile or it's self-serving and it doesn't have a point, or they've just ignored it, which means that they don't want their readers to know about the things that the media gets up to. So it's been an interesting reaction.
Another part of the film that I had a really strong reaction to was the fake tabloid stories that you made up. Could you tell me a bit more about it? Why did you choose to do that?
This is the bit, I mean, it's only a 2-minute part of the film, but this has now been on hundreds of news series around the world. It's on Access Hollywood tonight. It's running at CNN. Everyone's running the bloody story. But anyway, it's great fun, and it's something I've wanted to do for about 10 years. Because when I was a student, I actually subsidised my student career by selling stories to the newspapers.
At Warwick University?
Not at Warwick, when I was at Oxford. No. So, I made a few quid. And the stuff I sold was all true, but we could have sold lies then, and I was fascinated by the behaviour of the journalists, because they were practically egging us on to make stuff up for money. They were just really trying to sort of gild the lily, and they did gild the lily. They exaggerated the story, so I knew what I told them, and then I'd seen then what they added and quotes we didn't say, and it all got made up. So I thought, this is fascinating. And has anyone ever done a documentary on this? It was like, well, no. People have gone and interviewed celebrity journalists, and they've interviewed Matt Siv, they've done those very crappy talking head celebrity things, but no one's actually really looked at the journalist side and looked at how a lot of our news is concocted. So anyway, so about 10 years I've wanted to do this, and then I checked with the lawyers, and they said, well, as long as it's light-hearted and it's silly, no one's going to sue. No one's going to sue about a member of a girl band secretly being into physics. So we just called up some tabloids and just fed them a whole load of porcupines, basically, and they bought a hook, line and sinker and printed a lot of them. And we wouldn't have made any, we didn't make any money out of it. We didn't accept any money, but if we had, we could have made a few grand doing this. So
could have financed the film, maybe?
Could have financed the film, I mean, yeah, exactly. So it's terrifyingly easy to do. You call up the Sun, you make up some ridiculous story, and they print it and they give you money. It's amazing.
Now, as you say, this was for me, it was really scary to watch. What can people do about it? If we all wanted to take steps in our lives against this, what could we do as individuals?
It's a difficult one. It's not an easy fix, I'm afraid. Campaigning documentaries like to have this handy checklist at the end to go, if you want to save the world, do these 5 things. And I did that on my last one. I did that with Taking Liberties, and I don't know if that was a sensible thing to do or not. I often have doubts. And I do think that if you simplify a message, you can often screw it up. And that's essentially what Live 8 was. Live 8 was the intense simplification of a very complex issue, and that inevitably screwed up with the best intentions. So I don't want to be guilty of the same thing. But simple things like media saturation for children is really damaging, that kids are just watching so much TV. That's not my opinion, that's like just the general scientific consensus. Kids watching 8 hours of TV a day is really unhealthy for them. We've got an obesity epidemic. The kids aren't getting out and playing because they were inside watching TV. Ban advertising to children. Any psychologist will tell you this. Ban advertising to children. I know it put Disney out of business, but tough love. Okay, and secondly, I think that the PCC, the Press Complaints Commission, is an absolute waste of time. It's what's supposed to quote unquote regulate the media, but it's the media regulating themselves. So when you have a situation like Jan Moir writing a homophobic article in the Daily Mail and prompting an unprecedented number of complaints, so many it crashed the website. That's the PCC. Who runs the PCC but Paul Dacre, editor of the Daily Mail, that published the article in the first place? It's like Mugabe sitting in judgment on himself for war crimes. So it's a joke. Anyway, so get rid of the PCC, abolish it. Yeah. And I think there should be this law that says if you're a journalist and you sourced your story mainly from PR, from public relations, you have to put that in the article. Yeah, you've got to put it at the top. And if you say sourced from PR, and I was talking to a journalist about this the other day, he said, but everything is. And I went, I know. And they said, but everyone stopped buying our newspapers. I said, well, I know, tell the truth. Say I've got this material from someone who's essentially paid to lie to sell products, which is what PR is. And then let the readers decide. But no, it's all about trickery. So I think those are some things that people can do, and just be more aware that the media's not got the public's interests at heart, it's got their own interests at heart.
And just as a last question, do you have a PR?
I do. I have someone who's paid to make me famous. No, we have a really, really sweet public relations company called Porter Frith. We had a problem with releasing a film, and you can't release a film without doing some PR, even though I set all the Guardian stuff up months ago. That you need someone to take calls from journalists to arrange an interview schedule. You need someone who's got like images of the film and a trailer for when Sky Movies want to do a piece on you, and to arrange the screening so the critics can all come and it doesn't clash with the other critics' screenings. So on that basic level, we have a lovely, sweet PR company that they're like our two aunts. They just look after us and make us tea. But there's not been a single press release of this film. We haven't, apart from the Guardian thing, there's been no us approaching the media. We've just done the Guardian thing and said, if you want to talk to us, that's fine. So we haven't done PR in the way that you'd normally do PR, but yes, we've had to hire a PR company. Well done, well spotted, yeah.